an auspicious crowd to talk to, because I suspect you know more about wine than I do with your background and training and things. So if anybody wants to take over, feel free.
I don't know, we're all just kind of kicking off well, most of us just kicking off on the diploma course, so we're just kind of making our way through it, starting off.
Bits, though, as well. Okay. Well, putting it in perspective, as we look here, look down that way over there somewhere, it's 88 miles to the south of us in latitude is the area that produces the quintessential sparkling wine called Champagne. That's nearer than Luton, putting it in perspective, and in fact, if you take Champagne, we are closer to Reims, the way you want to call it, in latitude than the Auge, which is part of Champagne. So, this could be, if this was France, well, I suppose it was conquered by the French, then it's been conquered, isn't it? If this was France, it could have been a sub-region like the Auge is of Champagne. The soil, the soil in Champagne, I think, is a bit of a myth. Terroir, I think, has a lot of explaining to do, because to me, terroir is more to do. The soil itself is something like 10% of the structure of a wine, but most of it comes from how you manage the vineyard and how you work with the grapes and how you create grapes of good quality. And of course the clones you use and all the other things, and having an assemblage of different clones on the lot. So it's that's very, very important. The winemaking, well, adds quite a bit, probably more than the soil, but it's the soil that everybody talks about. And if you think of Champagne, which goes from Reims to the Auge, which is something like 160 kilometres or something like that, it's a blooming long way. You can imagine how many different soils they've got there. They've got everything from, just as we are here with clay over limestone, sandstone, that's what we have here. It's clay on the top, it's a wonderful material for growing in, to areas where they've got virtually nothing except the debris chopped up from Paris over a century. It's cast on top of chalk. They've got some sand, they've got all sorts of things, the whole range really. One perhaps similarity, or one connecting theme, is some elements of calcaire, some elements of the limestone and the chalk that's associated with it. But much more to do with the growing of the grapes and how they're grown and how they're looked after. But as it happens, this is, in geological terms, virtually identical to Champagne. We have, it is the heart of what goes to the Paris Basin and up the Marne Valley, the chalk formations that do that. What's on top of that? Well, okay, that's going to vary all the way. And of course, the climate is extraordinarily similar. There is one fallacy that I think that I seem to meet more often than not, that, and I do get upset because we even created ourselves, that this is a very wet maritime country. Well, Bordeaux is wet and maritime. So is Cornwall, West Wales, Devon, Dorset. But officially in Sussex and Kent, we are actually officially designated semi-continental. And we get an average of 600 millimetres of rain, between 500 and 600 millimetres of rain